to describe how we done. Lean each other, sweetheart. Time to run on our way, miles apart. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on. Don't believe me, just watch. We're real fools, we're on the loose. We got to be wiser. We got to be wiser. Stand up, just हमको तो सब कुछ चलता है.
Another day, another 24. Nothing's promised nowadays, so nowadays I'm letting go.
Shalmali, how are you doing?
Fantastic. Fresh. I've slept well.
Yeah, very, very nice. And I'm sure, like, after yesterday's night's concert, it would have been. I think it's always the kind of concerts that you did. It's firecracker of a concert. Right?
I think all of us had a very good day, and by all of us, I mean the entire band. Because we got together and I personally asked everyone, did it feel as good for you also? Because sometimes you get a good feeling after a show and maybe someone in the band is not in that same boat with you for whatever reason, but it was a universal feeling. And that just makes the experience so much more than, just it being a single person feeling happy.
Yeah. But you like, after so much travel and all that, you don't feel the tiring feeling is not there.
Honestly, yesterday began with a seriously long Mumbai to Pune road trip.
You got stuck in the
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And when I got here, I was in the most foul mood. And I was like, I have to snap out of this because this cannot leak onto what I came here to do. So I had to take a nap, which is very unlike me to do an afternoon nap. But when I woke up, I just spoke myself out of the funk. And I'm so glad it worked out because it was so worth it to do that, because what followed was one of the most beautiful shows that we've done in a long time. So the travel does get to you, and as much as it might be just sitting in one place, or sometimes if you have a great seat in the flight, you're even actually sleeping. But travel does come with its fatigue.
Yeah, and around this time of the year, I know you guys are just traveling like crazy, like all over the place. And even abroad also, people are like flying in and out of Dubai and Singapore, and then Kolkata, and then Jaipur, and then Kerala, and like they're like all over the place.
Yeah, and I think some part of us yearns for it.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. We might be like, oh, I'm so tired, we might do this. But if we don't get it, we have a problem with that.
Yeah. True. That's awesome. I just wanted to say what this session is all about. So just as a little background, so Mood Indigo and IIT Bombay, they got in touch with us to do this series of talks. And you know how in the younger generation there is a lot of interest around taking up music as a career. So different aspects. Somebody wants to be a music director, somebody wants to be a singer, somebody wants to be anything, like not only music, like anything in the arts related. Like somebody wants to be a filmmaker, who wants to be a stand-up comedian, and all kinds of things, right? So as far as music is concerned, Mood Indigo wanted to do this series and kind of clear the clutter around what it really takes to become a career musician.
Yeah.
Right? And so we kind of talked to them, and then we decided there are like 5 different topics. There's singing, there is music production, there is playing instruments, and there's music composition, and then there is like doing live shows and all other kind of avenues of sort of earning a living through music.
Yeah.
So for that last part, I really couldn't think of a better person than you to talk about it, because there are live shows and there are Shalmali shows.
Ah.
It is like when I was there, I was like thinking about it. Last night, I so fortunate to see you live there, like very up close. See you. It was firecracker of a show. It was so amazing, and of course the college crowd. I'm sure you also feel the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, it's not always that it ends up being like how it was last night, because you feed so much off of the audience's energy,
Absolutely.
and they were just there yesterday.
Yeah.
Whatever you threw at them, they were there,
Yes.
and
yes.
that just elevates the experience for everyone.
Yeah.
But as far as making, I think, a career out of music is concerned, if I have to go back to when I started,
Yeah.
one thing that I knew for certain, and I think that was very important for me to take this call that I want to do music,
Yeah.
is that it brings me the kind of joy that nothing else does.
Yeah.
And to know with certainty that I want to do this because it makes me happy was ground enough for me to find things to make money, to, hold my own with it. Once I knew I wanted to do music, which was in college in like 11, 12 standard,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'll do anything that's musical.
Mhm.
I think I kept a very open mind.
Yeah.
I was not like, I want to do playback music.
Mhm.
That's it. I'm going to wait for that phone call from a music director or from someone who will give me a singing job.
Uh-huh.
For me, singing was not my career. Music was my career.
Yeah.
So I think having the intention of doing music, I think, is more important than singing, which
Yeah.
is a subset of doing
Sure.
music.
Uh-huh.
And as such, when I started putting my foot forward as I wanted to do music and I am available, throw an opportunity at me or I will find my own opportunity.
Mhm.
Slowly, the universe, you know what they say, the universe conspires to make
Yeah.
it happen.
Yes.
I think that is very true.
True.
Because you attract that kind of energy, because you're putting that kind of energy forward.
Yes.
So the first earning that I ever made out of music was playing at this restaurant called Out of the Blue.
Okay.
So I played every Friday, Saturday, Sunday
Mhm.
for like 3.5 hours. It would just go on, right? Till people are eating and they wanted music. We were there entertaining them. And I used to make 2,500 rupees a night, which
Okay.
was, I think, amazing.
Yeah,
It was amazing. It was amazing. I
That was like
"What?"
around the 11th, 12th grade or something?
No, this would be like when I was 19, 20. So I was in
Okay.
my second year,
College.
third year of college.
Yeah, okay.
And I was going to college and
Yeah.
then I was doing this. And then I got another opportunity to audition for a Latvian cabaret. And I
Okay.
said, why the hell not? Let's do that also. And I got into it.
Uh-huh.
And I had to then do rehearsals Monday through Thursday in Pune
Yeah.
for the cabaret.
Okay.
And then go Friday, Saturday, Sunday back to Mumbai to do my Out of the Blue
Oh, okay.
shows at Out of the Blue. So I kept myself busy
Yeah.
doing whatever it was that was musical.
Yeah.
And I think initially when you want to make a career out of music, you know how they say in Hindi, haath pair maro. I think that was my haath pair maro phase, which did feel like a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Because it was like,
You're
I love
having
doing
fun
this.
also.
I'm having fun. Let's do. Oh yeah, you're doing that. Let's do that as well.
Yes.
Oh, I'm in. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I was just in that phase, and I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
So now, and there was no Bollywood at this time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just doing whatever came my way, but that attracted that opportunity from Amit Trivedi to sing "Main Pareshan" to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a friend who was working in his studio,
Mm-hmm.
who called me saying, hey, do you have any demos that you can just send Amit, because he's looking for a fresh voice.
Mhm.
And I said, I don't have any Hindi demos. I used to not sing Hindi at all.
Yeah. I've known him as an English singer from very early days.
Yeah,
actually.
like in college,
Yeah.
the 5 years that I went to St. Xavier's College,
Okay.
I didn't sing, barring one odd Hindi song in this Antas festival that used to happen. Just sang English everywhere. So
Okay.
when my first Bollywood song, which was Main Pareshan, came out, everyone was like, "Who is this?
Yeah.
We don't know this girl. She never did this in college." So I surprised myself. I surprised my friends when I got into Bollywood. But coming back to how the universe sort of makes stuff happen,
Yeah.
because you're sending that energy out, I think people take notice of the fact that you're putting an effort
Yeah.
into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates opportunities for you.
Yeah.
So Amit Trivedi calling me was one of the later opportunities that came my way, which just was a bigger bouncing board than the other smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I will never be able to discount the role of the smaller opportunities that helped me get to that big opportunity of singing for a Yash Raj film and learning then for the first time what playback singing really even is.
Mm-hmm.
I was unaware of this entire world of playback singing before I actually sang a playback song.
Uh-huh.
Because to me, doing music was always writing your own songs, performing them to maybe a small crowd, or if life presents that opportunity, singing to a bigger audience,
Yeah.
and then doing an album and releasing that and doing another one. That's how doing music looks like.
Yeah, it thought in a very Western
Yeah.
concept, right?
Yeah.
Bands and albums. And
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
I grew up.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
grew up with that culture,
Yeah.
because I heard an album of Michael Jackson. I heard an album of Spice Girls
Yeah.
and Phil Collins
Yeah.
and Queen.
Yeah.
Those were the bands that I heard, and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do what they're doing and
Yeah.
live that life and have that thrill in my life. And then came Bollywood, and it was completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing about Bollywood, and I must say that although Bollywood does so much for you, because it reaches the widest audience that you can reach in
Yeah.
India and abroad also, right?
Yeah, yeah, actually abroad is big. I mean, I lived in the US for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I know how big is Bollywood. I'm not talking about only Indian people.
Even the
See, South Asian people is of course they are very familiar with Bollywood, like
Right.
whether Bangladesh or Pakistan and Afghanistan, these people, or in Middle East. But there are people like German people, Italian people. They also come for this like concerts or for the movie halls. There are movie theaters where they show the Hindi films, and then
They show up.
You'll always find like probably 60-70% would be the South Asian
Sure.
crowd, but there'll be like 30% people. There'll be Americans and like people from all over the world. So Bollywood is like
it's big.
it's very big,
It's big.
and it's growing bigger
it's
by the
big.
day.
So I think I've been very fortunate, and that's what happened when you sing one song and it does well.
Mhm.
People see the potential, and by people I mean music directors within the fraternity. And I think Preetham saw something in me that made him make me sing a song like Daru Desi,
Yeah,
which was so different from Main Pareshan as far as
yeah.
the texture is concerned. I don't know what made him make me sing Daru
Yeah,
Desi.
yeah.
I think he just gambled into
Yeah.
making me sing it, but it worked.
But
And
Preetham definitely has a vision.
Oh.
so definitely.
and Preetham knows that I think this song
Yeah.
you can do this one. And with that, I think Lat Lag Gayi also, he used that big voice, the broader western kind of singing into Lat Lag Gayi. So with that, I think began this whole Bollywood song after song after song in the film world in India, which unfortunately comes with one trait that I must say to this audience that you cannot get comfortable with, and that is that in Bollywood and in playback, as a vocalist, the opportunity comes to you. You don't create it. The
Yeah.
music director will call you,
Okay.
and he'll say, hey, I have this song I need you to record. Are you free? Whatever. Great. On that day that he or she calls you, amazing, you got that opportunity. But what do you do in the interim period where there are no calls? So it's a very dependent scenario where you are waiting for that opportunity to come to you.
But you don't chase the opportunity?
There's no chasing the opportunity because it's not in your hands to sing the song. It's in the hands of the music director, and now actually even the film director, the producers, the actors, they also have a say in
they
whose
want
voice
your
should
voice
be.
on
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
So if you get that and the song releases and the song does well, it's a very different scenario.
Yeah.
Great. Then more impetus to your journey thereon. But until then, what do you do? And that period is the most important, I feel, in order to keep your career sustained. One is working on yourself and working on your craft in that period that you've gotten as, hey, you got this time to yourself. What do you do with it? Because you're employing yourself. When you choose music as a career, you're self-employed.
Yes.
You don't have to go to work at 9 in the morning and you don't get done at 5.
Yeah.
You don't get weekends.
Yeah.
You're pretty much working actually on all
7
weekends.
by 24.
Yeah. So in a way, you can take a vacation whenever you want.
Yeah. True.
And in a way, you can also work whenever you want.
Yeah. But you are always working.
But you're always working if you want to, though. If you're not
Okay,
driven, if you're not motivated enough,
Yeah.
if you're not pushing yourself enough,
Yeah.
you could choose to laze around every day.
Yeah.
And that is the difference I find in having a sustainable music career
Yeah.
today.
Mhm.
In India,
Mhm.
when there is this thing called playback music, which I find a lot of people chasing,
Mhm.
I would strongly recommend
Yeah.
musicians who want to eventually say do playback, not to chase playback. Let playback happen. Let it come to you. Let it be like that thing that I was on this journey and oh, I met this amazing person and that person stayed with me on this journey.
Yeah.
Instead of I'm gonna go find that person, because that way you're evolving as a musician on several fronts. For me, doing that cabaret helped me stand in front of a stage and be present without having to sing. What if I had to just stand and someone else was singing and I had to still play a role? I learned that in that cabaret.
Yeah.
That was not playback.
Yeah.
But I use that today when I do my live shows and I don't have to sing. And I have to let the guitarist play his solo. What do you do then? Sure, it's your show, but it's his time to shine. So what do you do then? So these are the things that you learn along the way that you have to keep being hungry for.
Yeah.
So I think I strongly believe that music is so much more than just singing.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, I think I genuinely find myself more of a composer and songwriter
Sure.
than a singer. Also, I'm quite averse to that word singer. I just don't use it much. In fact, funny story.
Performer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a performer, entertainer, a musician first, because I do take interest in music theory, and it just helps you be so much more than what you're labeled as. Sure, you can be labeled as a vocalist, a singer, whatever else, and it's okay because that's what people see you doing.
Yeah.
But in your head, to set your definition straight and then work in that line just helps you grow.
Yeah.
And that intention of wanting to grow every day with every experience is paramount. Because at any point you can just call it a day saying, hey, this is great. What we did yesterday's show, great. Let's just do the same thing every single show. They're happy, you're making the money, and that's cool. But
And there are bands, they go like a completely scripted, completely rehearsed. They're like every move and every word they say is exactly the same thing, and they just go do this
same thing
over
every.
and over
So
and over.
you know what? The thing I play in a band that does that.
Okay.
And in fact, I have I'm completing 10 years with that band now. It's
Which
called
one?
The Bartender.
Of course, Mikey's.
Mikey's the bartender.
Yeah.
Mikey's a stickler. He's not in the band, but he's the godfather, right?
Yeah.
He's made the music.
Yeah.
He's very particular about what gets played where and what is. It's that show is it's like a musical almost. We have
Yeah.
dialogues between the songs.
Okay.
So I'm having a drink. My
Uh-huh.
first song of set is Thodi Si Jo Peeli Hai. So I
Okay.
always have a drink in my hand.
Mhm.
And the first song gets over and the artist who's singing it turns around and says, Shalmali, you've had a little too much to drink.
Mhm.
And she takes the drink from my hand and I say, Thodi si jo peeli hai,
Yeah.
chori to nahi ki hai. I do that.
Yeah.
That's scripted.
Okay.
But the thing is, to stick to script is another beautiful thing to learn, I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Because you have to do what you're told to the T.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I think I need that in my life to balance it out.
Yeah.
Because in my shows, I have the liberty to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But then I also put myself in this act where no, you can't speak when you're told not to speak. You cannot interact. You cannot be the center of attention because
Yeah.
there are 3 other people who are singing with you.
Yeah.
And to show restraint.
Yeah.
Because that is something I find as musicians there's a tendency to forget also.
Uh-huh.
To show restraint.
Yeah.
To not play.
Uh-huh.
To be quiet. To be still. That just keeps getting harder to do. You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But I find that it's interesting to also put yourself in situations where you have to do less. You have to, in the 3 minutes in a 2-hour show, that is your spot to do, you do everything then.
Mhm.
And then you leave. And you still make a mark.
Mhm.
You know, that's something beautiful to learn. And I think I feel like I also sing on and off now with Preetham's live
Yeah,
set.
yeah, I've seen that.
And he does a long show.
Yeah.
He does almost like a 150 minute show, which is
Yeah.
at over 2 hours. And I must have like 20 minutes stage time in that show.
Mhm.
But just to do your bit to the T,
Yeah.
that's also doing a
But,
lot.
but his shows are not probably that scripted. It gives you a lot more ample opportunities to kind of improvise and do your own thing and then take a diversion or something like that. Is that right?
So with Preetham, not so much because he again likes his songs to sound like the recording.
Okay.
So as close as you can be to the song is the experience he wants to give the audience.
Sure.
He wants to give them probably the feeling that, hey, you heard that on your digital streaming platform, whatever
Yeah,
that
yeah,
might
yeah.
be, that is playing live in front of you right now.
Mhm.
Whereas in my shows, we try and rearrange almost everything.
Everything. Yeah, I know. I saw that.
We rearrange everything because I find it more gratifying to see the band more involved in a way that they feel appreciated when they get to play something
Yes.
over replicate something,
True.
and that to me is just more wholesome of an experience to do with my family, which is my band, you know.
And from the audience level,
Also-
audience point of view also. I mean, if I want to just go and hear exactly the same sound, you know, why am I making so much effort to go? I have a really nice sound system at my home, nice home theater, all this thing. I can hear in a crystal clear quality. Why am I'm coming there to have that experience?
Yeah.
And then I want to see a variation.
Yeah.
I want to see what else you can do with the same
Same song.
but you can just render it in a very
Different way.
And I think that's the best thing about the seeing you live or anything. And I think for example yesterday's live show, there's a little section where you kind of sang sort of unplugged with the pianist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure from an artist point of view, for you as a musician, that gives you a lot of satisfaction, just singing just with the piano or just with the guitar or something like that.
You know, that funnily, that was the challenge of yesterday's show. We very newly started doing that. Tell you what, And this is something I feel like I'm learning about myself. I put myself in these positions often because I'm scared of them.
Yeah.
Our entire show
That's
is on
actually a very beautiful thing you just said. You put yourself into that position because you're scared of that.
Yeah.
So you're like face on. You want to.
Yeah, I just want to
confront.
face it. I just want to see.
That's the only way you can just get over it.
You can learn, and then you can feel terrible about this decision you made
Yeah.
later, or you can be like, oh, that was not that bad.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
should probably just tweak this bit here, there,
Yeah.
and do it again next time.
True.
But until you take it head on,
Absolutely.
so our entire show is on a click track,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
right? Because that's how everyone can stay in time and locked in. That piano section, I told the band no click.
Okay.
We'll just see what happens,
Yeah.
We'll just feel ourselves. So my back is to the pianist.
Yeah.
I'm not making eye contact.
Yeah.
But I've played with you so many years.
Yeah.
I'll just feel you. So I told him, I'll just feel where you are in the song, and we'll just do it old school.
Yeah.
And you're saying you liked that.
I loved it.
You loved it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, what happened is that we started with a song called Ruka Ruka.
Ruka. Yeah.
And then we went into an English song from my album 2X Side A,
Yeah.
which is Love You Double, which is
Yeah.
of a slower tempo.
Yeah.
So when the drummer comes in, he has to pull the tempo back
Uh-huh.
and then push it back in front for when we come back to Ruka Ruka towards the end of the song. And that manual mode,
Yeah.
somewhere all of us playing on click tracks have forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we can very naturally.
As if you're like jamming in a
Yeah,
studio or something.
exactly.
Like that.
It's like that. But to do that on a stage with like this equipment that everyone has spent money on, and there is an audience, and then there's this fear of what if we goof this up, and
But the audience loves to see that.
See
You
that.
know, they want to see if everything feels like you're on a click track and everything is like so perfectly
perfect,
locked
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
People want to see the fluidity also.
Yeah.
That gives. I mean, we can feel the vibe.
Yeah.
Whatever you're performing on the stage, we can feel the vibe.
Right.
And if you're doing something impromptu, if you're going with the flow,
Yeah.
we can feel it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why it felt very nice, that part.
That is very good to know. I'm going to make a note of that. Because it was a bit of a gamble, I feel, for us, everyone. We said we should just do it and do the sit down thing, because I'm again a person who's too antsy. Like I have to be standing, I have to be moving,
Yeah.
because that's how I know performance to be. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of songs that I end up performing. But I said, let's do this section which is mellow.
Yeah.
I will sit.
Yeah.
I will not get off that stool until it's Pareshan time,
Yeah.
I'll just sit there. And the last two shows, this was the second show that we did this section in. And I think everyone felt good, about
Yeah.
doing it. And this is another reaction now I got.
Yeah.
So it's definitely staying then in the
Yeah.
set.
That's awesome. I hope you do like more of it. So, in fact, there was this. So you spent some time, talking how early you started. Like you're doing all kinds of gigs. How's your family taking it? And I'm pretty sure they're like very supportive of it. And so your family plays a big role
True.
in all this, right? So can you talk a little bit about like your parents are into music or?
Yeah, my mom taught Indian classical at home.
Uh-huh.
So I learnt from her, and
Okay.
my father loves listening to music, and he just sings when we tell him, sing that
Oh.
song,
Oh, cool.
So I do come from a family that appreciates music,
Sure.
but no one has taken music up as, bread earning career,
yeah.
everyone depends on it.
Yeah.
Having said that, my parents, yes, have been very
Yeah.
supportive, but that support, came in the form of belief. I think they just believed that if I wanted to do something, I would find a way to make it work.
Mhm.
I don't remember a single instance where they ever asked me, is this going to make enough money? Is this going to pay for the bills? Is this going... There was no conversation about these things. There was
Yeah.
just letting me be and letting me do. And I'm sure they were observing what I was doing
I'm sure.
and making
Yeah.
sure that, okay, she's doing this. Okay, she's occupied. She's growing. She's learning. She has a home. And we can provide for her whatever, food and living expenses. But I moved out
Mhm.
when I was like 21. I started living with my boyfriend.
Mhm.
And I solely did that because it was closer to all the studios in Andheri.
Yeah, Andheri West.
Andheri West.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, Dad, that I have to go and live in Andheri because they call me anytime, and
Yeah.
then it takes me 1 hour to go from there, and I've lost my opportunity in that time. So they're like, okay, go ahead, go do your thing. And that transition happened very, automatically.
Okay.
And they got a lot of slack, I feel, from our community. There would be some aunties who would ask my mom, अच्छा म्यूजिक तो कर रही है पर कुछ जॉब भी कर लेगी ना, नहीं तो कैसा, there's always out of concern, of course, that comes out of good intentions, but they were scared. But my parents were not scared of how this would shape up for me. So I've been very fortunate that way. Yes.
Oh, that's very, very nice to hear. And I think your mom also kind of taught you very early on, or did you
Yes.
have like a proper other gurus? Or?
Also later though, so
Okay.
my preliminary music education happened with my mum in Indian classical itself, at home in my living room. That's where music class used to happen. And then I studied with her teacher Shubhada Paradkar
Okay.
for 2 years when I was in college. And again, what an amazing teacher to have, because she knew
Yeah.
that I was interested in English Western music.
Yeah.
So she would do my class, Shubhada Tai, and she would then say, "Kaitari English म्हणून दाखव.
Yeah.
Sing me something that you're singing in college or something." And then I would do that for her, and she's like, "This is such a nice tone, and this is such a nice that broad, the belting that is there in Western that isn't as much in Indian classical," and she would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And she understood that my interests were different,
Yeah.
and that I was using Indian classical as probably a nice base to have good vocal health.
Yeah.
And that really helped me keep a very open mind to music itself. Because with Indian classical, sometimes it happens that you get a teacher who's so strict, who doesn't appreciate the fact that you're doing other kinds of music, or that your interests are varied. But both my teachers, my mom and Shubhada Tai, were very open-minded that way.
So how much of this having like a multi like you sing English also, you sing Hindi, you sing probably Marathi also, and I don't know what other languages you probably sing, like many different style and different languages. And how much of this doing multiple things is you think it's important for a singer? I know you don't like the word singer, but
Yeah,
someone who wants to sing as a career.
Versatility,
Yeah.
this is my opinion, versatility is not important.
Okay.
Focus is important.
Yeah.
And focus on just learning new things is important.
Yeah.
Now, along the way, if you end up learning things that makes you versatile,
Mhm.
well and good.
Mhm.
But if you are known as that amazing ghazal singer,
Mhm.
then so be it. That is your forte, that is your strength, that is your weapon, and use it.
Yes.
For me, my listening has been varied
Yeah.
because I heard a lot of like Western music, and then I had the Indian classical happening at home, and in my surroundings. The things that fell onto my ears was varied, and it sort of developed me like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
As such, if anyone who wants or intends to become more versatile just listens to different music, that's a lot of influence.
Mhm.
Like, I know when I write music now, when I finish writing a song, I'm like, that's so much of Amy Winehouse right there.
Yeah. Totally.
And I'm like, I didn't set out to sound like her or to write like her, or that my songs should sound like hers, but it just so happens because I idolize her. And how I have loved and looked up to Beyonce so much that now when I speak on stage and I hear myself back in a video, I'm like, oh my god, I'm doing that thing Beyonce has done. And it's so much of listening that shapes you,
Mhm.
and that makes you versatile. But that's a byproduct again, versatility.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's important.
Okay.
I don't think it's important.
Yeah. That's nice to hear. So I think it's like one thing I was going to ask you, but I think you kind of answered it. That there was a phase that you were learning, and then there's a phase that you think that I have. Of course, learning never stops. Even now, also, I'm sure that you're learning
Yes.
every day.
Every day.
But there's a phase where you think that I have now learned enough to go and put it into practice, and then become a sort of a professional musician or something. But I think for you, it kind of happened naturally because you started performing so early on.
Yeah.
Is that, or was there like a very specific transition period you kind of remember?
So because there's no, there are music degrees.
Yeah.
But it's not after a music degree that you say that, okay, now I'm Visharad, now I can do a show.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So I feel like we have to, at every stage in our musical journey, as someone who's learning, put ourselves out there and put ourselves into that strange spot where you don't know which way this is going to tip, and just make notes and learn from that experience. So I started out at that out of the blue. I'll tell you what I learned at out of the blue. A restaurant in which people are eating and there's clanging of their forks and spoons and there's conversation happening, and there you are sitting with your accompanist and singing in the background. That was my first singing in front of an audience experience. And I learned that despite saying 3 times that, hey, you can send in your request to us and we'll sing the song to you, no one would send in a request.
Okay.
So we started keeping this bowl of chits. And we would just pick up a chit from there and read out random names. Satyajit wants to dedicate a song to Suman, who he's on a date with today. And so he's going to sing I Love You Baby. Okay, and then we would start singing. And then people would be like, oh, someone did that. When actually no one called Satyajit or Suman is in the audience. And then they would come up and, leave a chit themselves. So, that's a trick. Okay, so that's how you work an audience. So working an audience is something is non-musical.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when you're making a career in music, you have to work the audience, right?
True.
So that's something you learn when maybe you're just in your ABCDs, but you still got to put yourself out there and learn the other things around the music.
Yeah.
So that I don't think there's a particular time where you say that, okay, I'm ready now. Now I can go out there and do it.
Yeah. That's really nice. You have, I know you have just a reality show, but other than that, you have never tried to be on any reality show, have you?
No, I've never participated. No.
Never participated. But that's a reality. A reality show is a reality nowadays. A lot of people, they come out of reality show and then they make big names for themselves, and at least they get introduced to the rest of the world. What do you think about that? You having just a reality show. What do you think about that route, other than the one you have taken?
For a lot of people, I think reality shows are the best way to come into the circle or to be noticed. Like the internet is.
True.
The internet is a big opportunity to put yourself out there and be heard. And I think a reality show does just that and a little more, because you get mentored by whoever is mentoring you there on that show and giving you feedback, and you're in touch with that person. You have like a physical, relationship with the people around you. And by that, I don't just mean whoever's the judge or the mentor, but also your participants, the fraternity that you have there.
Yeah.
But always on all the reality shows that I have been on, from Indian Idol to Dil Hai Hindustani to Sur Nawa Dhyas Nawa, off camera, whenever I've had a chance to speak to the contestants, I've told them, this is not the end.
True.
This is the beginning.
Yeah.
And whether or not you remain in this show, your life and career will begin after you're out of the show.
Yeah.
And what you do with the time that you spent here.
True.
And if you're not able to recognize that,
Yeah.
none of this
Will matter.
will matter. So what are you going to do with the things you learned? What are you going to do with the relationships you built? and the vision that you have for yourself in the future
Yeah.
is what you need to really hammer into your head.
Yeah.
Because there are just so many also people who have won and gotten out of reality shows who are forgotten then.
Yes, totally.
And that
Really?
hurts because they're so immensely talented.
Mhm.
But if the talent is not accompanied by motivation
Mhm.
and the willingness to push yourself,
Yeah,
then it just doesn't add up.
true.
So I do believe that reality shows are wonderful as an opportunity presenting medium, but not something that will take you all the way.
Yeah, yeah. What you do after that, it's more
Is
important than
everything.
what
Yeah.
you do through it. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You, I see that you put out a lot of little snippets of you singing just with a piano or a keyboard or with a guitar or something. How much of like knowing an instrument is important for you or for anyone who wants to be singing? But
Yeah.
do they have to be playing an instrument or?
I, for one, play the guitar and piano because I compose also. Like, I write my own music and it helps me write over with an instrument. Like, I find that just singing a tune doesn't help me imagine the song as well as it does when I'm playing an instrument. That is the primary reason. And secondly, I feel better about myself as a musician when I know what chords are being played, what chords can be played, how an arrangement can be rearranged. So that when I go into the rehearsal room with my band, I feel like there's more respect.
Yeah.
Then here's the artist that I'm doing a show for, and all she does is sings.
Mhm.
I mean, it's okay
Yeah.
to do that, but I feel better about myself knowing that, hey, instead of that C, can we do an A minor and like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that could sound nice, you know,
Sure.
like substitute those chords with other ones, and that helps you come into a space with other musicians more prepared.
Yeah, and that brings like your singer-songwriter personality into the studio also.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that is, I think, the reason why I would do. And in general, when you play an instrument, you will see Arijit plays so many instruments.
Phenomenal guitar he plays.
Yeah, my first memory of Arijit was in Pritam's studio, sitting in the corner on the edge of one sofa and just strumming his guitar and just doodling.
But the kind of notes and he chooses, and it's just like he's so naturally gifted. He comes with some like wacky notes he just throws in there in a transition or something. It's just amazing to see.
He is a human being to study. I feel someone should be a fly in the room or just like when he's there.
Yeah.
Because I think like I said, that memory of him just singing in the corner, I don't know, like he was not Arijit Singh then when I met him
around 2008-9. That's
Yeah.
when you were singing with Pritam, I think.
Yeah. And he would just be, he was so, I would be like, this guy, who's this guy? Why isn't he singing in Pritam songs? You know, this
Yeah.
thought would be in my head because
Yeah.
what is he doing? My God. And he would just be in his own world. He's oblivious.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to be like that.
Yeah.
He does not care, or it's so it seemed at that point, about anything but just that moment of him just being with his
Yeah.
instrument. And that instrument, I think, helped all those doors to unlock.
True.
So I feel like learning an instrument also unlocks a lot of things in you.
Yeah.
Because the way strumming a guitar or plucking a guitar can make you sing differently.
Oh, absolutely.
And that develops you as a
Yeah.
as a vocalist also.
And because both guitar and piano, more so guitar,
Yeah.
it's a melodic instrument. Also,
So
it can be
percussive. Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So actually, that unlocks like those kind of percussive elements
Absolutely.
in your singing also.
Yeah.
So you lock in better with the rhythm section.
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
that's-
In fact, I last heard, I think Arijit and his wife were both learning sitar.
Oh, seriously? I know he's a fabulous tabla player also.
Oh God, that man, we can do an entire 1 hour on. I can just talk about how I think he's just unreal. Because he truly is. He really is unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, very inspiring.
I have, in fact, I have known Sunny for such a long time also, and I know you guys do work together.
He's my brother.
I mean, Sunny is just such an awesome guy, and you guys put out some like really wacky videos and production. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm amazed to see the kind of stuff that you guys cook
Yeah.
together. Now, how much you is invested into making those those videos that you guys put out? There's something, I think you did something around Game of Thrones also. There's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we did. We were too excited about the last season, so
And
we
it
did
was,
this.
it was some like a really weird camera moment. I remember
Yeah.
something like different rooms and
Yeah.
people are standing, and it was like a one shot.
It's a one-shot thing,
One
yeah.
shot sequence, and I was like, somebody has to come up with this concept. So
I'm crazy about one shot. Because
Okay.
I feel like when you're doing something at one go, you
Yeah.
have to be so prepared.
true.
And it's my dream to do the Super Bowl, which is like a one-shot thing, right? You have to get
Yeah.
the singing right, and you get the movement right for the camera, for the audience, and everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's all quick. Like you do it, and then they. So I'm like, if you want to prepare for the Super Bowl, you have to do these one-shot videos, lots of them. So, which is why we did the first one we did was called "Say Something," which is a Justin Timberlake song that
Okay.
we,
Uh-huh.
and that Justin Timberlake has also done it in one shot.
Okay.
The entire music video is one shot.
Okay.
So we decided, inspired by that, we would do that also. And for that, Sunny had hired this whole, ching bang equipment of in-ears and monitoring, and
Yeah.
how the camera will follow us, and what route we'll take, and how the song sounds, in the lobby of my
Yeah.
building, and how it sounds on the street, and how it'll be mixed, and how little it had to be mixed later.
Yeah.
Because however it was recorded is what it is. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
post in it as
Yeah,
such.
yeah.
But that was the challenge.
Wow. And only Sunny can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, Sunny is like, you want to do it? We'll make it happen. Let's do
Yeah.
it. And it's so amazing to have a person like that who enables you.
Yeah.
Like to a lot. So I'll tell you, one of the most amazing things Sunny has done for me is I was living with my parents in between moving places, and I came home one day and my mom is like, someone has sent us a fridge, and I said, sent us a fridge? What do you mean? It was like this big box, and I was like, yeah, this is a fridge. Who has sent us a fridge? And then Sunny messaged me saying mil gaya kya or something like that, and I said, why have you sent me a fridge? He's like, are khol ke dekh. And it was a piano,
Holy
like a electric piano,
wow.
which he said, now learn this instrument. So he's the reason why I started learning the
That
piano,
is
because
so
he's like,
beautiful.
that is. And he told me, for all the Telugu songs you've sung for me, I had to give you something back in return. So instead of paying you, I'm giving you a piano. So start learning it now and write music.
Okay.
And I said, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah.
That one, I have a friend who thinks about my future, and who thinks about the fact that I can grow if I have an instrument that I can learn, and who believes that I will learn it if it was given to me, So he's been more than just someone who does production and someone whose studio that I work out of,
Yeah.
and he's just so much more to me than that.
That man is special.
He is special.
Yeah. He and Shadab as well.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh, he's a magician. He's not a mix engineer. He's a magician.
True.
Who, because like people won't believe him if he says he's a magician. He says I'm a sound engineer.
But those guys are just too incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I know we have talked a lot, and actually we can go on. There's so much to talk to you about. But I also wanted to talk about this. Being. I always maintain that in my like music circle, when I talk to, if anyone can be a true diva of Indian music, that'll be Shalmali. If there's anyone can be a Beyonce of India or something. I've seen Beyonce live.
Oh my God! I
It's
still have to see her live.
Yeah.
I'm counting.
It was incredible, and
sure.
and if anyone from India can be that, That'll be you.
Oh my God.
Because you bring the whole zing bang to the your performance. Now, no one does it like you. So your live shows are very special that way. So, I mean, it was always planned like that you wanted to do this whole performance bit, like the whole 9 yards thing with this.
That was my aspiration always.
True.
But I had to do it very sneakily. I'll tell you how I did it. Now that I'm here, I can talk about it. So, I was playing with a 5-piece band, drum, percussion, guitar, bass, keys, and then an engineer. And that was the troupe that I did 6 years of, of my live shows. And I wanted to start dancing. For me, singing and dancing on stage was like a thing that I wanted to do, because I wanted to do that, what Beyonce was doing and what Freddie Mercury has done, what Michael Jackson has done, and I wanted to see if I can do it. But to tell your management that, hey, I want this and that and this and that and all this, and then I will do my show, it just doesn't happen like that. Because how do you go from a TBL of 6 people to a TBL of 17 people, which is as many as we travel now? So I decided, I went to New York for a month saying, I'm just going to study music. I'm going to take some vocal lessons, take some dance lessons from the Broadway Dance Center. So I spent that month doing that. And I realized on that trip that I went to find a teacher essentially who will teach me how to sing and dance on stage. But I didn't find any such teacher in New York. And I learned from my experiences with the music and dance teachers that I found there that, hey, you have to combine both of them together. You have to learn the dancing, you have to learn the singing, and then take it home and then see how you can work it out. So I was like, okay, I have to work this out on my own. Why should I do it alone? I'm sure I can find more people who want to do the same thing as me. So I'm going to go back to India and I'm going to audition singers and dancers who can do moderately of both, don't have to be superstars, but who want to learn with me. So I held these music and dance auditions, and then I got these 4 amazing... Should we... Okay, he got that. So I ended up getting these 4 amazing talent, 4 girls who wanted to sing and dance, and we said, come on, we're on this journey together, we're going to do this together. So in my TBL now, there were 4 singers, backing vocalists, which was acceptable.
And they dance and they sing?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So we learned together by and by, and we used to do 20 minutes of the show newly, meaning that we would learn 20 minutes of choreography of a 90-minute show, and then try and just get that right and make amends. Okay, this going out of breath here, that needs to change in the studio, go back to the studio, change that, come back the next show, do it. Okay, that feels good, but the crowd doesn't react to it. Okay, go back, change it, come back. So we kept working on the show over a period of time, and people were like, we love this, we don't know what the hell this is, we've never seen this before, these guys are singing. No, are they singing? Yeah, they are singing. All 4 of them, all 5 of them are singing, because I'm singing and the girls are also singing and harmony, and they're dancing. So this is like some kind of K-pop thing happening in India, and we did that for 4 long years, and it was great. Now people didn't want to go back to the small show. Because there were times that I would say that the girls are not free and that we can still do this show with the 5 people. They were like, no, we don't want that. We want to spend more money and, fly more people down and get this show on the road. And that was surprising to me, because these were the same people who said, no budget, no this, no that. But you have to show people what your vision is. And I think that is important.
True.
You can't describe it to them. You can't say that, oh, there'll be this and there'll be that and trust me, it'll work. No, you just have to do it and say, that was what I was talking about. So
I think the personal conviction is the premium.
It is.
That's the most important thing, that you have to have a vision. You have to have a conviction that you're going to do it. Because nobody sees it like you do.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
And a lot of this also I find parallel with the tech startup thing that I deal with on a daily basis.
Right.
You have to have a vision, and you have to see things differently, that what you could do. There'll be a lot of people they'll come and tell you that I don't think this is going to fly, because they're limited by the experience that they had.
Exactly.
They don't see what is possible.
Yeah.
So, which you're able to see. You have a vision. You have a very strong creative mind.
Yeah.
And you are able to see something that they are not. So, I think maintaining that conviction
Yeah.
is very important for you.
And in fact, I think taking that dream
Yeah.
on the road with the understanding that this might fail.
True.
It might. There is a chance that it will not work. So knowing that you're going out full out 100% trying to make it work,
Yeah.
but knowing in your heart that okay, I might have to either make amends or like learn from this experience saying that it doesn't work is, you know, the best way I find to start on anything new that you're doing. So for me this show started like that, and then the next thing that we did is that if we are dancing on stage,
Yeah.
then the next person that we need on this crew is a light engineer
True.
who's able to light what we are doing, because now it's not a sonic experience, it's a visual and sonic experience that is elevated by lights, and then with lights come LED.
Yeah.
So what the LED is doing, because there's an LED wall behind every show now, you know.
Yeah.
So we slowly started adding the people who made the experience, you know, fuller. And now I have all the people play such a crucial role. There's no person who is free at any point during the show. They're completely occupied and immersed in the entire duration of the show.
Earning as a musician, you know, there is in my mind there are like three ways to do about it. You know, live performances and studio recording and teaching probably nowadays also. I don't think you do a lot of teaching because you're so busy as a performer and stuff like that.
I wouldn't actually. I've given this a thought a lot about teaching, although the only thing that keeps me is like, what would I teach other than out of my experience?
Yeah.
Like anything that people can take away from my experience is what I can probably teach, you know, because as far as theoretical knowledge of music goes, whether it's Western or Indian classical, is something that I am learning myself every day and I'm trying to evolve with it. But what I know I'm good at, which is what someone ends up teaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone ends up teaching something that they know enough to want to impart to others.
Yeah.
And I think my strong suit, as far as if I had to teach, is how I apply what I learn
Yeah.
to my life. And in that comes my experience. So if I had to teach tomorrow, I would teach how to take your show on the road, how to work an audience, how to conduct yourself on stage, how you can exploit a song more than what is there in the original recording. But that is, I think, my second innings of life.
Well, what you're doing right now in this conversation is you're
Is that? Little did I know.
But we will definitely, you know, get you on one of these Livdemy workshops or master classes to do exactly what you just talked about.
Yeah.
That will be amazing actually. So which brings me to this whole, you know, this live performance as a earning, you know, potential. So obviously you give probably more importance to the live performance than studio, or other way around.
So I love being on stage.
Cool.
That is what I love more than the studio. But I know that in order to take something live, I have to get into the studio.
Studio work.
I
Yes.
don't dislike studio work. I love singing to a condenser mic and in a
Yeah.
quiet room. I love that. But my heart is on stage.
Yeah.
I think both how you work with both mediums is very different.
Mhm.
Like how you sing in the studio, like itna maza.
Hmm.
I can do that on a condenser in the studio, but itna maza, I have to do this live to the same song. because a dynamic mic on stage does not capture falsetto as well as a condenser does in a studio. So these are the things that I feel we are helped with when we put ourselves in both rooms, the studio room and the live audience. So both are equally important.
How much? I mean, you also use some of the technical words now, like the gadgets, like dynamic mics, or the different kind of mixer, or different kind of effects unit, vocal effects unit, or anything like that. How much of this learning technology or being aware of the technology is important for you, or for anyone as a professional singer?
I relatively know very little, I'd say, about what a gadget is called, or what model number it is, and there's just so much out there now, right? But I depend a lot on what sounds good to me. And when something sounds good to me, I make it a point to ask the engineer, what did you use? Okay, this was a Neumann mic. Okay, it's the silver. Okay, I can remember that. That's easy. So when I go to the next studio and I ask them, hey, what mic are you using? Oh, it's the Neumann silver. Oh, I know. When that goes into the Vox box, it sounds good. The preamp. Okay, so you have that. Okay, great. So it's just about being more curious, I feel, and being more aware, and making small notes, but not going like apeshit crazy about it and be like, okay, I'm gonna make it on this like model number and this that unless that's something that you enjoy doing on your own. Like for me, when I listen to mixes, right, when we're putting out music and there's this version 1 of the mix comes and I listen to it, I'm like, I like it, and then Sunny says, wait, I'm sending you another mix in another, so then that'll be version 5. And I'll listen to that and be like, but I liked both. Because my ears, I feel, are not as tuned as someone who's doing a mixed job, or someone whose work is to do those finer, the tweaking. And that is something that I'm developing as I'm doing more music, and being able to understand that it can be better, or that I'm not getting that feeling. I feel it's important to be able to communicate what you're saying to the people you're working with, more than what equipment they're using and the gadgets that they're using. If you're effectively being able to communicate, I'm not getting the thump, or I'm not feeling that vibe, you can even, sometimes I act it out. Like there's a song that has like this cha 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 cha, and I'm like, I'm feeling this cha ka tum cha right now, but I want to feel the cha cha cha. The engineer gets what you're saying, because they see that, oh, this person wants to get this feel out of this rhythm, and not this feel out of it. It's one way of communicating.
True.
Because finally, what do you want to do? You want to make the music sound good. So it's just how you want to communicate.
Social media is a distraction?
For me, yes. It is, because I'm not from the generation, I feel, that began using social media the way it does. It is used now. Having said that, it has become an important facet of one's career and promotional tool that is accessible to all. It's not like television, where only some people get the opportunity to be on television. Everyone has an opportunity to be on social media and to exploit it. And some are rather fantastic at that. And my peers tell me that I am so easy and you do it so well, and I'm thinking, wow, okay, little do they know that I really struggle. And I am not as savvy as the generation after me is. But I don't think it makes sense to give up and put your hands up saying that this is not for me, I'm not going to do it. Because it is one of those things that is in your control. So one must put at least a percentage of effort into it.
So as long as I think you don't get swayed by this whole toxicity around social media, then you can actually leverage it to your benefit. And for example, I'll tell you one thing that because you're such an independent music musician,
Yeah.
that you put a lot of your independent work. You know how in comedy they have this like open mic. You know, they take like 3-4 new jokes that they have written,
Yeah.
and they try it out
Yeah.
on the audience and
Yeah.
see the response. So the little 1-minute clips that you post on your Instagram or something like that,
Mhm.
those are actually very beautiful, and then you can use that to sort of test out that how is it vibing with the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see good response, then you can take it
Take it
and
ahead.
make it bigger and make it like a full song or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you think so, that is your open mic.
That's my open mic.
Yeah.
The social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those 1-minute clips are you could use that
Yeah.
as your open mic.
Yeah.
How much do you believe in collaboration and collaboration in the sense? See, a lot of artists I've noticed, especially again in the social media age, that they're collaborating with X, collaborating with Y, and then that's how they keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always good to you have your own following, that X and Y they have their own following, and then 1 + 1 is more than 2 kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it keeps growing that way. What is your take on collaboration as a tool,
Mm-hmm.
as your sort of a growth strategy?
Mm-hmm. There's been far too many times that I've been told by, the industry that is responsible to, help you grow and your audience and generally make more money, and that try collaborating with this person and that person because for exactly the same reasons that
Yeah.
you mentioned. I'm too old school in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
and I feel like that comes in the way of me wanting to collaborate.
Yeah.
Because, see, that word collaboration is a very symbiotic one, I feel. Like,
True.
you have to,
The give and take.
it is a give and take. It's not like, I've made a song, come sing it.
Hmm.
That's not a collaboration. That's a
Yeah.
feature.
Yeah.
So, on my album, I have a bunch of featuring artists
Yeah.
who I had a conversation with, like Vasundhara V, who also, by the way, I learn music from her also. I take
Yeah.
vocal lessons from her. And I
And
said,
Saurabh used to play bass for you, right?
So-
Or Saurabh?
in the bartender, he does.
In the bartenders,
Yeah.
he does. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I asked Vasundhara, there's this song called Garden Variety Hater that I'd love for you to sing. I've written it. And she came on board as a featuring artist.
Yeah.
And as such, there's Ranj, who also sings. And Vishal Dadlani and Hanuman Kind are on Chalta Hai, another
Mhm.
track, as featuring artists. I wouldn't call that collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a different way of two artists being together.
Mhm.
But there are songs that I'm working on now which I'm co-writing, co-composing with other artists. And that's a collaboration. And that's a collaboration that both of us, the other artist and I, have wanted to do because we wanted to work together. And it's not a calculated move of you will bring that to the table, I will bring this, and together it will become that, and oh, that's why we are doing it.
Mhm.
The intention is not that.
Yeah.
The intention is that I want to work with you. I want to experience making music with you. I don't know.
To be more organic.
Yeah.
Intention has to be more organic.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that is satisfying an experience. And then if that song blows up and becomes big, I think I'll be happier
Sure.
with that. And that will be a more beautiful story to tell in an interview than, we decided to do this because that audience was different, this audience was different. That's, so in that sense, it's, I'm very old school. But once, this is what I do now. Since I know this side of collaboration is just as important, once I decide that I want to collaborate with XYZ artist, then after the song is made, then we discuss, hey, how can we build a story around this? That you and I are making this music together. What is it that we bring to the table together that people haven't heard? And then you develop that. So as far as collaborations go, I think I get to the whole, how can we make this commercially viable
Yeah.
aspect of it after the creativity is fully satisfied.
So yeah. So obviously the creativity takes the
The front seat for me.
The front seat. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the true artist actually. So
I don't know if that's as helpful though. I mean, I find a lot of times that people end up accelerating their careers in a different gear, a higher gear than I do because of my choices.
Mhm.
But I'm happy with my choices.
Yeah, I think true artistry also lasts long.
Yeah.
I believe. And then you are more artistically driven than
Yeah.
driven by the marketing side of the pure growth
Yeah.
side of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's just the more beautiful way to think about it.
Yeah.
Shalmali, this has been such a wonderful discussion. I cannot tell you, I have always wanted to know the sort of the person behind all the amazing work that you do, and I got to know a lot more today. I know we can just go on for another couple of hours, but I'll just try to say that this has been a session for all the students who want to take up this. I think they got a lot of information from this conversation. I would like to ask you any sort of parting notes for the students who wants to.
I think Mood Indigo has been very central to my childhood.
Oh, you grew up.
I grew up in IIT,
Powai.
in Powai,
Yeah.
opposite IIT.
Yeah.
So one of the first shows that I watched in my life, the first show was Silk Route
Okay.
in
yeah.
the convention center. Convocation Hall. My God,
Okay,
sorry
okay.
guys. Convocation Hall was when Silk Route played. I saw Colonial Cousins at Mood Indigo.
Yeah.
So that's where I saw live music happen. So for me, Mood Indigo is a central part of my
Absolutely.
growing years. So to be able to give back to that festival in whatever form
Yeah.
means a lot to me. So in that respect, I'm happy, so very happy that we had this chat.
Yeah.
And on a platform like Livdemy, who's doing such amazing work to just provide what is needed today to earn a living, and to hear people speak from experience of what there is out there that one needs to work on, or one hasn't thought about, or is something entirely new to them, something new to listen to and to learn from. So I'm grateful both to Livdemy and Mood Indigo to be doing this.
Oh, that is so awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I know you have to now drive back through the card section, but
What fun.
But it was so nice talking to you, Shalmali, and have a great rest of the afternoon.
you.
I cannot wait to see you more of your live shows like we saw last night. It was
Yes,
amazing.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.